makes everything rainbowy. And it kind of hides that, like, yeah, like some guy's eyes blow out and like the bear pukes on the ground, and there's lots of like lightning and a big bomb goes off.
Yeah, like a bomb goes off and the city comes down, and this is like 9/11. I mean, like, it is terrible. You know, like this is just like the whole city crashes to the ground, and lots of people die.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of, shoot, I don't remember if it was like Independence Day. Did the big spaceship crash down in that? Or there's some movie where there's like a giant space. Maybe it was District 9.
Oh, District 9, and the spaceship just keeps going down and down and down, and like everything is just crumbling. And there's there's people falling, and our main character, Dunstan, is he manages to save an owl lady who is like, grabs her from like certain death, but everybody falls. And
a lot of people die, it seems.
And so they land on the ground, and like this imagery is very reminiscent of the imagery after 9/11. I mean, like the broken parts of buildings and stuff jutting out of the ground at ugly angles, and the dust that's in the air, and
it's reasonable. It's definitely like gory type things, but it's still in kind of a comic-y, and I know comic's a really generic way to describe things, but it's like you see like a bird with like its entrails coming out, and like a badger with like stuff poking through them. And if it was like super like, it's not disturbingly gory,
right?
But like it's more like the concept of what happens to him is gory. It's not like
it's a little unsettling, dude. I'm looking at like a dog with like that had landed on some like wicker, like he's been impaled by wicker, and like some of the wicker parts go through his face. It's bloody and gory, and
but do you know what I mean? It's like for what's happening to him, it could look a lot worse.
Sure, yeah. I mean, they could have done just some really horrific stuff.
I mean, like, horrific stuff is happening, but it's like, it's not so deep. Like, the art isn't in a style that really like, we've seen some styles where gory stuff, like, really makes you feel, like, you really feel it.
Right.
And this is still, like, it's still animals, and it's not like, I don't know, it makes it not as rough as it probably could have been. Like, and I appreciate it for that, because it would have been too much if it had been. I don't know.
Well,
I'm not really making a lot of sense here.
well, the survivors do exactly what survivors would do. Like, they start comforting each other, burying their dead, and making plans for the future. Like, what is that future to be?
Yeah, and they're all on the ground now. They don't live in the sky, and Dunstan's dad dies, and now they got to figure out what's going on next. But they discover that they were somewhat successful with their magic
after all
thing. Yeah.
So it was just a delayed reaction, and we get this like glowing orby ball that you can see something's inside of it after a few panels of this glowing green, and it was just a delayed occurrence.
And it turns everything green. It's like got a real green light to it. The coloring in this is really good. Like I like this green.
Yeah, and then, so it shoots up a beacon of light, which like just sends everybody to it, including.
And then the world changed forever, Larry.
And then the world changed forever, including the bison people who have been slighted by the floating city people. So
now
what's going to happen?
Uh-oh, they're in trouble. Now you're in bison world. And
now you're down on the ground. Yeah, you're in bison world.
And that could be bad, because they're coming for you.
Yeah, and then this kind of threw me, and I know who this character is, so it doesn't bother me that much. But to introduce this character at the end, really kind of like throws you for a loop. But there's
it's the last page, and it did throw me.
There's this lady, foxy lady. She's a fox.
Foxy lady.
And she's got a funny hat, and she's riding a beetle machine, or a beetle, like a giant beetle.
Or is it a grasshopper?
Or yeah, like a big grasshopper-looking bug thing.
I'm not sure what it is exactly.
And she's just got like a question of, oh, what is this all about?
Yeah, and
Intriguing.
like we're not sure if she's with the bison or if she's solo or whose side she's on or really anything.
Yeah. So, what did you think, James?
Well, Larry,
what did you think of the art, first of all?
The art was the best part.
The art is definitely something to look at.
Like there's a lot of pages where it's like just art and there's no dialogue, and you can tell what's going on, even if it's not like very fast progressing. It's like there'll be like 5 pages of the magic exploding, or like a couple pages of the city in ruins, or the art really can be a lot of pages, which is good. I think I like the art.
I like the art. I liked all the character development. Well, not so much character development, because we just sort of see some of these characters just briefly. But
I was gonna say the character development might be the weakest part.
Yeah, it is a little on the weak side, but like the characters as
like how they're drawn
as art. There's the owl. There's like a little pigeon lady with like, she has like headphone things on. Like she's just like, and then the warthog lady who's just got like different shawls that she wears, and they're all cool and unique and like really well done anthropomorphism. And everybody's represented. There's squirrels. There's a hog. There's frogs. There's rabbits. I mean,
your elephants, your bison, your pit bulls,
There's a giraffe and there's like a puma.
Mm-hmm.
And reptiles too.
A goat and a lizard and there's a lot of scenes where it's just like there's like 50 animals in the scene, like at the big banquet. So you really get to see all these different characters and all their different dress. And I think that, and it might be my favorite part, is just looking at all the different animals.
Yeah, it's super fun to look at. It's a gorgeous book to look at. And I'm going to say that the story, whilst this first issue doesn't really grab me without putting the champion in first, like I said, I read volume 2 of this, 5 issues of this, before I read 5 issues of number 1, and I don't know if I would have had the staying power without the champion. So when we meet the champion... I think
that's interesting. Yeah, maybe read number 2 first.
Yeah. When we meet the champion, he is something else. He is really funny.
Interesting. Because, like, we went through pretty detailed what happens, but, like, I could sum up the plot just by saying, like, there's this dog guy, and really, I don't even need to say there's a dog guy. I could say, okay, there's this city, and they're running out of magic, and they try to make more magic, and the city crumbles, and now they're in trouble. But somehow they get this champion who might save them.
Yeah, that's it. That's summed up. And
like, there's no real, like, we're introduced to Dustin, and, like, a lot of characters have names, but I don't know or really care about any of them.
Right.
Other than, like, I think they're on the good side. And the bison are on the bad side. I don't really know about any of them. Or,
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. In its defense, and I would say this is a strong defense, it is neat. It is such a neat looking concept. It's such a neat concept.
It's like they want to have so many characters. Like, there's almost like, a good thing is there's so many different characters to look at, but a bad thing is there's so many characters that then you don't know anything about.
Right. Really. I mean, it's almost it's somebody in a club summed it up that it's Lord of the Rings, and there's a little bit of Conan when we meet our main character. I won't spoil any of that because I'm encouraging you to pick up and read all of these. But whenever we watch Lord of the Rings, they get me every time with how long and expansive the movies are. I couldn't imagine reading the books. And I'm always just blown away by, like, I've seen them 10 times now, and I'm always just like, they keep you, all hope is lost, and then, spoiler alert, Gandalf comes over the hill.
Well, yeah, and I think Lord of the Rings is like something that a lot of these fantasy kind of things try to aspire to, and they try to make this really big, complicated world. And Lord of the Rings does a great job because it all is interconnected so well. But like this, it's like, I'm going to have to ask you, like, okay, how many of these characters are we ever going to see again? Or like, how much is actually important that is like ever will come up again, you know? Like, it seemed like there were a lot of details where I'm like, either this is like the most complicated, rich, you know, everything's interlinked story, or they were really overreaching and I don't have to pay attention to a lot of this stuff.
I think that they put some breadcrumbs out in this first trade, in these first 5 issues. But the second trade, none of these first characters are in it.
Okay. That's kind of what I was hoping for, but like, what else, like, it would be really cool if it was somehow, but I didn't. It seemed like it would be unrealistic for that to happen.
Yeah, in the big picture of the Autumnlands, I bet you, if it was tanking, if the books are still coming out, if it was going downhill, that they would wrap it up and they would bring these characters back together somehow for a happy fuzzy ending. I don't know.
Did you ever read any of the Redwall series?
No, I don't know what that is.
It's kind of similar to this with not as much, not really the magic, but in like there's all the different types of animals, and it's a really big series, and it does a really good job of like interconnecting a lot of different stories and characters, and I really highly recommend it. But there's a lot of books to it, but like the first Redwall book is really, really good. So I was hoping this would be kind of like that, but to me, it just fell short, and maybe the biggest drawback for me was the dialogue was just
too flowery.
It wasn't, too flowery. That's a great way to put it. Too flowery.
Yeah, I tend to like gloss over some of that stuff. Like, I maybe I don't put as much importance on names and like, am I going to need to know about the God of Commerce in the next?
Yeah, exactly. You know? I hope he doesn't come up again because I already forgot his name.
All right, James. You must have rated this somewhere though.
Yeah, you're right. I did rate it somewhere, and unfortunately for all you Autumnlands fans, it's in last place, right behind Justice League. So,
Okay, well, I'm sure that
it's got to go somewhere, you know.
Yeah, well, it's a small list currently.
Yeah, it's only 14, and you know, Justice League. When I put it last, I didn't feel like it deserved to be last. It was just, you know, we've only done 14, so if you guys are big fantasy fans, or if you just like worlds where it's animals as the main characters, which is like a surprisingly big category. I wouldn't think it'd be so much in comic books, but we've read 3 or 4 already.
Commandy.
Commandy, or Proof.
Oh, right.
It's not fully like that, but where animals are kind of main characters, I'm surprised how many there are, and I do like the category. But, you know, this one wasn't my favorite. That's all right.
All right. Well, maybe next week.
What do we got on the schedule? What do
Okay,
we got,
James.
The docket.
I think that we are going to add a new category to the Oneies.
Oh.
Which we did not have last year. An all ages.
Oh, interesting.
And I have an all ages comic that it might be our shortest show ever. We'll see. And I'm urging us. I'm urging our listeners to pick this up on